Hi all, welcome to another Chess24 Banter Blitz. It's 11:30 AM UK time. Okay, before we get into the Banter Blitz, let's have a look at the amazing voucher code. You can use Kingscrusher for 15% off if you head to chess24.com/premium. So you can get to play the likes of Magnus Carlsen, the current world chess champion, and arguably one of the strongest world champions, especially across all the different time controls. And you can get to challenge him at Blitz, which is one of his specialities. So other grandmasters, international masters, celebrities, and even buddies like me on Sunday. So well worth it, and you get loads of other perks as well to check out. Okay, let's go to the challenge list today. Okay, challenges. Dangerous Ride, I think you got me in the last time. The last week was a bit dramatic. I'll still go with, I think, Knight C3 here. Here's a Dangerous Ride. So last week, I thought I was doing well, yeah, and at the end, I collapsed. But let's see. Okay, we're at the start of the session this time. Knight C3, Dunst opening to start off with today. Or I like to call it reverse tango. It sounds a bit more charismatic to call it reverse tango. Is he actually around though? That's the thing. Is he actually around? I might have to do the 5-second thing. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I have to abort this out. And I'm going to I see I've got oh, okay, oops here. Okay, oops. Is it oops around? I hope it oops around. Oh, we do have a game. That's good news. Okay. So e5 here has been used by Tony Miles with good success. Okay, now f4, go back to c6 actually. Knight f3, I think I'm going to play queen f6. There's unusual things to do here. I think queen f6 is interesting to me. So knight c3 is a bit of a problem, but maybe c6 coming up. Because there might be knight b5 anyway. So c6. Well, here anyway, c6 facilitates bishop c7 if needed. So one trick is bishop g5, knight takes f3, wins that bishop on g5 here. Maybe, you know, it looks to me like d6 is an interesting idea here to present that pawn at that point. Although, yeah, I think, okay, yeah. So I think there is a threat of bishop takes c3 here. Or is it too much dynamic compensation for white? On f4, bishop d4, it looks like a lot of dynamic compensation for white. I don't really want that sort of position, but if he plays f4, I might have to have that position. Now, it looks actually quite kind of dire. Maybe there's something better I can do. Radical g5 here, I think. Stop this f4. If g3, at least the g file would open up here. So I think I do want to get in d6. That sort of rules out c5. Maybe, you know, bishop e6, rook d8, knight g6 to f4. This looks all rather as though it's plausible. Although a6, if I don't want a hanging a7 pawn. Knight g6 just to get a bit of a tight grip on is it worth it here? Is a okay? I'll risk that for rook d8, knight g6, just to not hang the a7 pawn. So rook d8, knight g6 to f4. So it seems as though I've got a reasonable grip now on the dark squares. If c5 d takes, well, there could be another option there. Okay, so here, okay, f4 might be coming up. In fact, I could play it like Basman here and just put the king in manually. Alright, so I'm going to put the king in manually, I think. So it's that reverse delayed macho grob. Okay, I can't take that, I'd lose the rook, so I think knight takes is important. Do I want king g7, h8 or king e7? c4 looks a bit vulnerable. King g7, f4. Am I in trouble there? Maybe the king belongs on e7 here. It looks precarious on e7. Yeah, f4 looks very tempting. Bishop takes c4, and it's f4, g takes, rook takes, queen e6. Is that actually plausible to play bishop takes c4? I'm not very convinced by my setup, actually. But anyway, I'll work with it. Try and work with it, basically. At least the knight's on e5. It's sometimes safeguarding points, but there's a diagonal here, for example. The knight on e5 is nice to have, I think. Okay. So rook g7. Maybe I can get some... Oh, there's rook f6. Yeah, this is why I think it's precarious. There's things like rook f6 now. It is precarious. It is very precarious. Okay. What do I want to do here in this precarious position? Maybe bishop takes e2, queen e7. Okay, queen e7 looks like a must. Yeah. An Elon must. Okay. And that looks like an essential guardian of the position to get some common squares coordination built up. Maybe b5 is interesting actually, but there's queen h5. Queen g5 is also interesting. That stops queen h5. I think I'll go with this just to stop. Oh, there's rook f5. Hold on, rook f5. Yeah, these forcing moves of the queen, I don't particularly like them. Well, I think that's a relief to have this position. I can do king e7 now. Over here. I think most of the concerns are in the distance. Knight f4, there's rook g6. I've got some common square build up on g3. Those license to kill squares have been built up. He has got a tactic here with knight d5, but knight f3, if their rook g1's mating, rook takes, knight d5, c takes. It's a nice ending anyway, I think. Even if he does d5 or g6, it's a nice ending. I've got the passed pawns that need to be pushed. Thanks. Oops. Yeah, it's a very interesting variation. I did research on it, and there's either bishop b4 or queen f6. Although in practice, I tend to. It seems intuitively I trust more queen f6, but the engines actually I think prefer bishop b4. I need to check that out. The latest Stockfish NN that position. I'm curious what the latest Stockfish NN has to say about d takes e5, knight takes knight f3. Yeah, I'll be curious to analyse that with the latest technology actually. But queen f6 hasn't been letting me down that much in practice either. It's got this coziness to it, and it hasn't also let me down. Maybe it's important I see the coziness in it. Maybe that's a reflection that I can follow it up. Okay, so if I castle and d4, or king h2 and then d4, or d3 and bishop e3, or d4 here, no. Or f4 here. Friends f5, oh no, there's bishop c4, no, d3 would be nice. Okay, here, d3. Alright, so g4 and f5 would be interesting. g4 and f5 as a sort of light square campaign. So here it would seem, knight d5 is pleasant enough, and then c4. Right, a light square bishop without the counterpart. That's interesting. So I'll try and contest d4. Oh, knight g4 for queen h4 needs to be factored in. I think b4 here for b5. Try and destabilize the central control of the pieces a bit. So I think I'm threatening a4. I'll try and get my opponent to play a5. There's also bishop a3. Okay, knight g4. Put a wrap on for maybe bishop a3 would have been good. Stop d5 actually, unless g5 is okay there. On d5 g5 and then taking on d5. Maybe g5 here for bishop d5. Is that right? Okay, I can pin that, but I'll lose g5. I think it's better just to go for g6 and bishop h6 here. So knight d3, g6, h6, bishop h6. I think that's winning because of the diagonal. I think I'll play it here. So bishop h6, it looks crushing with the bishop on g8. No, yeah, it looks crushing. Queen h7 to follow. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, giving up the light square bishop seemed a bit dicey to me. So Schelling, hi Schelling, okay. I've completely forgotten all my London system lines with black. Okay, no, it's because I've been researching it. There's lots to take in. What is a good line? I don't remember any good lines from here with black. Oh, there is an interesting idea though with e6 and b6. Try and get to that idea. If he plays bishop d3, I'll try and transpose to this one super interesting idea. I'll be stunned if I can pull it off. There's an interesting stem game, which I think London system players need to be aware of. between two super GMs, Carriac and Adams, and a serious time control. So Adams slaughtered Carriakin, but he's not playing this plan of knight e5. He's not doing it. I thought he played this plan of knight e5 because f4 there's a hole to exploit sometimes in the example game showed up. Here, I think maybe queen c7 is interesting, or c takes. I'll go with queen c7. So taking an e5 should equalize if allowed. Yeah, because he didn't put a lock on the e5 with knight e5 and f4. But there's a stem game, Karyakin against Michael Adams, where basically black played moves like bishop e7 later, and went round the e4 square, tiptoed around the e4 square. So that was I thought, very, very interesting theoretical game. Okay. All right, this is dangerous. And how to handle it. I think I have to. This is going to be a painful lesson. I think I've already lost. I've just realised I've already lost. Because he's got. Oh no, I'm on the brink of losing. Yeah. I'm on the brink of losing. for a tactic on the queen, yeah. I'm on the brink of losing. Oh. Okay. So bishop takes, queen takes. These discoveries on the queen. Maybe queen c7 on bishop a6. All right. So knight g5 is going to be a pain, I suppose. Is that f5 because it protects? And if knight e6, rook e8, the king's still in the centre. He's accelerated things here, but the king is still in the centre. So knight g5, f5, knight e6, rook e8. Okay, f6 here, just to stop immediate doom. And that gives me queen g7, I hope. Or has he got bishop g6 immediately? He might have bishop g6 just to win a pawn on d6. There's a perpetual check. If I don't use my queen, I don't have to drop d6. You know, bishop g6, hg, queen g6. If I don't play queen g7, has he got more than a perpetual check? So I think I really want to play bishop takes and queen g7. But then there's the raf of the h file. Is it such a raf here, this h file? Alright, now that he's castled. Okay, can I not play just knight e5? Try and get back on things. If he wants, it's perpetual. Has he got more than that on bishop g6? Queen d5 If bishop f1, rook, queen d1, bishop e4, queen d1. So c4 here gives me queen c5 check. As an option. Maybe bishop d5 after. Queen c5 and bishop d5. So bishop g6, queen c5 check, then taking here. Yes, but actually I think there is a snag here for me, unfortunately. That he can, yeah, there's a snag. Have I got queen e7? He's got rook e6. The snag is rook d8 and then queen f6 and queen d8. Is there a bypass? Is there a backfire on that? So king h2 hg, queen g6 coming in rook d8. I wouldn't have thought there's a major backfire. So do I end up just losing if I just volunteer a pawn instead here with queen c7? So I want to play bishop d5. Okay, nice easy game of chess in the morning. It's good. Okay. 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 I think Karyakin says okay a lot in his interviews to calm down. I think he says okay quite a lot. I think I understand. Or is it, no, this is on the GM that says that a lot. I can see his face. I've forgotten his name. Okay. Okay. I get it. Okay. So another Dunst. Who's that? Anyway, if you are a London System player, there are fairy tales going around in London System courses about knight e5 and f4. Just have a look at the game Sergei Karyakin against Michael Adams. London System is in the databases. It's a real positional crush. But his move order was really fantastic. I need to check that out. That was really interesting. Oh boy. I suppose this is less committal than d5. You know, ed knight d5 only could, damage my pawn structure. Can I just kick this bishop away? I don't want this option of damaging my pawn structure necessarily. If bishop b3, I'm going to chase it all the way back. Alright, now here, I'm wondering if a quick c5, do I get away with that? Is that knight just stranded on b4? Oh, I don't know. So bishop d7 or b4 coming up. B4 coming up here looks tempting. Or bishop b7 or bishop d7 or f5. I mean, there's a lot of tempting moves here. I think I should choose one. It's got downsides. It's not a solution. No, there's no solution. There are just downsides, as the expression I've heard, I think yesterday goes. There's no solution. There's just downsides. Okay, I don't want to try and do that to check my chess down. I'm going to wreck my chess thinking like that. It's nice to be idealistic without weaknesses in chess. Okay, so the downside should be for the opponent in chess only. What about f5? f5 here, now that it's committed to d5. f5. Alright, I want to keep the tension in the position, so I'll commit to that weakness. So g5, knight g6 to e5. Keeping more tension in the position, even though objectively it looks suspect, but it keeps a little bit more tension going without the bishops coming off just yet. If he's going to play like knight takes, f8, so I have an outpost maybe on f4 later. So knight g6 to e5. Alright, this knight b5, my c7 pawn's being potentially tortured here. I see. c7 torture. Okay. Actually, bishop a6 would have been... Yeah, bishop a6 gives him something to think about here. Stops knight b5, cuts across the diagonal. Okay, getting the light square bishop. I'm not sure about that. I just want to do this. So I got more pressure on d3 here. So at least I've got an interesting f file. Mostly interesting somewhat interesting f file. I can protect c7 anyway. So I suppose I was going to have knight g3 to f5. If I snap that off, this might be a better proposition. If I'm going to go on an adventure here with h5, g4, bishop h6. Queen c4 is on b4, bit rook b8, but bishop h6, g4, or trebling. Okay, that's interesting. That would lose my queen immediately. So maybe just queen g6 then. He gets in this f5, okay. Alright, bishop, new plan. Bishop f6, rook g7 for g4. Or rook g8 here. Or is this giving me a bishop? Yeah, that was a bit slip up. Okay, otherwise, great play. I was getting worried there. Thanks. Gogin Paul. Jabava English, is it? But Jabava London system flavor. Early knight c3, is it? Oh, okay. I'm not sure about that. Isn't there queen a5 check here? This doesn't ring a bell, this position theoretically. Pardon, yeah, Diet Coke. Okay, I think I can take on b5 safely here. Alright, so he's hitting my queen. Queen takes b2. Okay, so here e5 for bishop b4 looks crushing. Alright, thanks, Goggin. Yeah, I think something went wrong in the opening. Okay, no Henry. So h6 and knight g7. Given that he's got a big clamp on d5, I don't really want to invite bishop takes, you know, strategically to get rid of my f6 knight, because that clamp on d5 is already strong. He's taking time out to reinforce the d5 clamp. If I can just castle on d6 and king h7, stand procedure. I've got a clamp on d4 though, that's a perk of this position. So I want to play d6 and f5, I assume. Let's not pre-move that. Oh, crikey. Okay, I'm going to just take that. Alright, I think there's a problem here because of knight takes c2. As long as h6 is protected. Alright. I think this is hanging. Alright, thanks to the game, no Enroll. Okay, so dangerous ride. Yes, it was dangerous last week, wasn't it? Dangerous ride. I was put on a dangerous ride last week. Yeah, by dangerous ride. I didn't appreciate it in the last game. I got paranoid about one check he might have had. I'm not even sure it was mating it. In fact, I should have checked it out really. But anyway, I'm hoping for better here today. This is what I do in reverse. This b6 or bishop c5. I'm filtering through a ton of opening theory. Like, if you're in IT, it's like running a huge, gigantic where clause through the millions of variations you could spend your lifetime learning in chess. And if you play a system like the London system, King's Indian system, Julian Hodgson's system, Jabava's system, Keith, if you play a system like many successful tournament players, you're cutting through swathes of opening theory. And I think the dunce is like a system where you try and put it on your territory, independent of the opponent's moves. And the key advantage is time and resource, in my view. If you see your game as a set of weak links, you don't want to spend like 90% of your time, for example, learning variations of the Sicilian Najdorf, which might never come up. So you want to do stuff which comes up, a high percentage of the time. And I think systems like the London system, they're raging in popularity. I think people are starting to intuitively be aware of it without the discussion having been made explicitly. For me, it's like running a gigantic where clause through, say you've got 1 million rows, you just want like 10. That's what you get when you play a system. Like, far less to learn. It means you can have more training time for chess, tactical puzzles, which is a hell of a lot of fun compared to trying to memorize sharp opening theory, which also, by the way, expires quite rapidly. If you learn sharp opening theory using a certain engine technology, now that there's Stockfish NN, half of that might be completely wrong anyway. If you're analysing with a weak engine like years ago. So even staying away, I think the philosophy also of learning systems are positions which are less sharp in nature, so your analysis doesn't sort of expire. But I think for the pros, I think they're preparing for each individual game, and maybe it's much more, it's much more important to get an advantage out of the opening, and they've got all the time in the world, because they're pros. But for amateurs, I'm starting to feel that systems are a big time saver, so that you can actually improve, for example, your puzzle training. You can improve your end games and stuff. There's a lot of these weak links in the chain which you could be let yourself down on if you just haven't given yourself the time. So I think there's a bit of a trap there going on about learning tons, especially sharp opening theory, which doesn't really contribute to positional understanding. I kind of like learning like the French defense because you learn about pawn chains and stuff. But there's a lot of other openings. You might just be learning sharp opening theory for the sake of learning sharp opening theory. So anyway, okay, I think I've got a big clock advantage here. I think I want my knight on f3 in this position, and I don't want to blunder the rook. He's cheekily getting me to try and blunder, isn't he? How dare he? I'll stop knight b4. I think an exchange sack is in order here. The exchange sack in this position, I think that's another key skill. If there's a trend in the position, it makes exchange sacks, it's very easy to justify if there's a trend in the position building up, like winning 1 or 2 pawns. You can often justify an exchange sack, I feel. But here I'm winning, you know, a lot of pawns, I think. Okay, there is this idea that this is going to be painful, this rook c2 though, to be fair. So I think I want my king able to use f4. Hope I'm not going to get mated here. Alright, so rook f7 coming up. Looks tasty. Yeah, I got my revenge, but he was catching up on the clock. Naughty. That was an acceleration strategy. Very impressive. This guy, he's a fighting spirit. I like that. I noticed the acceleration pattern. That is a definite winning pattern in Blitz chess, the acceleration pattern. The full sense of security, yeah, from starting the game quite slow and then subtly accelerating all the moves later. It is a legitimate Blitz strategy. I don't know if it's given a name. The reason I think I've got into systems is because I'm lazy. I just can't be bothered anyway. I like the middle game. I've always liked the middle game in chess anyway. Not so much endgames, but because of that, I have, even before the London system interest, my recent London system interest, the King's Engine is like a system. You can play the King's Engine in reverse. I mean, Fischer did that in his early career, the King's Engine attack. So, yeah, having the systems, I think it's a key consideration, the systems, to be more independent of what the opponent is doing in the opening. I just think, even just from a learning perspective, if you've got limited time, so say you've got, I don't know, like 10 or 20 hours a week, I think being able to allocate like time investment to like solving puzzles or doing endgames, I think that's going to help the weak links generally. So yeah, I'm starting to have I'm a fan of systems at the moment. I don't know. What about you guys? Are you a fan of opening systems like the London system? I know Friedel is. That's why he's been torturing me with the London system every week for eternity. Friedel's definitely a London system fan, but I think the philosophy behind it is interesting. That you can actually just beef up your game generally. Yeah. If you've got limited time and other commitments. I mean, maybe you want to learn Elm, for example, yeah, in IT. Maybe you're an IT person. Maybe you want to learn the latest JavaScript framework. There's limited time at the moment. Maybe you want to watch the latest Netflix series, yeah, stuff. I'm joking about Elm. For some reason, these Elm videos turn up, and you know who they're done by? These Elm videos. They're done by these books, that these people that have done the one book that exists on Elm. You go to it and there's like 2 review ratings. The whole reason the video's there for free is because someone wants to sell their book on Elm, yeah? Now, I might be proven wrong and Elm could be like the hit, programming language of the future, but I don't know. I have this idea that there's a priority given to book publishers, yeah, sometimes. Anyway, that's a different story. Okay. Okay, so knight b4 to d3. What is this position anyway? What am I doing here? I'm uncomfortable in this position. I don't like this provocation, as if my opponent is Magnus Carlsen. This weakness provocation going on over here. I don't like this particularly. And the control of d5. Okay. e4. Is e4 possible? Okay, can I take that? The game was great for a while, I think. Before that. I'm going to say, I think everyone here, a lot of people here could benefit. Just do the London system and do the tactics training and then game training. I think you guys are going to accelerate. I don't know what advice has been given you by all these GMs, but I reckon, tell me if you think I'm wrong, I reckon most of you could do with a London system. I've just realised I might be a bit biased here, but I think the London system is a great opening for a lot of players, and even Magnus Carlsen plays it. Yeah, he's given it his seal of approval. Yeah, and I might be doing a course on the London system as well. At one point soon, there might be a course on the London system. I see it as a great time saver to improve your chess. Okay, thanks anyway. Patrick, thanks. Okay, here we go. Catmaster. No, it's not cats. There's no cat. There's no word cat in the nickname here. Bishop g4, knight d4. So knight d4. I want queen h4. So h4 could extinguish queen h4 at some cost. I think ideally, what would be my ideal move here? c6, b5. If it wasn't for queen h4 being an ideal move to start off with. Bishop e3, there's also knight takes c2 check, tactics. Queen takes, bishop takes e3. Bishop d2, there's queen h4. I sometimes have this nightmare position with white myself. Quite often, too often, occurs to me for some reason. Yeah, bishop e3, there's knight takes c2 check. Bishop d2, there's queen h4. Here there's queen h4. Isn't there knight takes a knight? There's a knight g3 tactic here. Oh, there's queen e1 pinning against the queen, I suppose. So knight g3, queen e1. In that position, isn't that bishop f2? If queen takes, there's knight e4. I think there's bishop f2 there. Not just unpinning, but also setting up a nasty forcing move. I don't know, one weird effect of analysing a lot recently with Stockfish NN is that I get up to do some opening research at about 6 in the morning, and I try and, the moment I improvise anything where I think there's either an automatic recapture or a tendency to capture, so capturing a pawn or an automatic recapture, I'm missing a whole resolution of resources, and I find I have to redo all my analysis because I check with Stockfish and there's some forcing move instead. So I think I'm also improving my analysis a bit recently because it's brutal. It's brutal. You cannot rely on, when you analyse, especially improvised analysis, if you ever do videos, you cannot rely on sometimes, definitely no, captures or anything that looks natural is something to make sure they can't be exchanged with forcing moves instead. Okay, so queen d4 or a6 and b5. What about a6 for b5? Isn't that dangerous here? Or c6 as previously mentioned. And then it gives me b5. That looks very, very tempting for b5. The thing is, I think it's good training trying to do analysis, because when you have to redo an entire video because you thought there was an automatic recapture or attempting capture to get a check, and there's something else, I mean, you get this discipline more of just checking all the forcing moves more, instead of, especially on those lucrative, where you sort of, your brain takes time off on holiday because you're analysing an automatic recapture. There's a great resolution of resources there. So a5 and bishop b4. Is that a thing, or bishop d4 or a5? Bishop b4 coming up, or b5. Right. Queen d4. This is mating there on. No, it's not mating. Alright, I think I should just castle then. And then b5. Try and open up the c file. Or b5. Or d5. Alright, there's c3 coming up. Okay, so this, I assume I should try and open the position up a bit. Because the king's placement, surely the king cannot sustain. Although bishop c4, I should have maybe tried d5. Can the king really sustain this position? Okay, I want to play for d5 and open things up. Or maybe that's not happening either. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might be messing this up somewhat. Is that a4 for queen b3 coming up? Creating a common square out of b3. Kill a common square out of b3. I've got my king on the diagonal of death at the moment. Trying to get my king away from the diagonal of death. This default diagonal. I think I should, but first play queen b3. Oh no, has he just trapped my queen? Oh, crikey. It's just the clock. I got my queen trapped. That was diabolical. That was I can only say diabolical. The king was just there, and I just thought I'd get my queen trapped. That's just great. It's total diabolical. Yeah, that's the only word I've got at the moment for that game. Okay. Bishop a2, the way I played it. Yeah, this like positional pawn sack here, which is represented by knight b5, because I'm going to pierce through this diagonal. I have a bishop without a counterpart, and so losing a pawn to bishop a6 shouldn't be a big deal. I would hope. You want the queen on h4. Okay, so there's time spent there. The queen h4, h6, knight f3, g5, bishop g5. Maybe there's knight g6 to consider there. Or here, ef, rook f5. Queen h4, there's h6. Okay. Have I been neutralized here? There's h6 on the cards. This could be all wrong for me. Maybe g4, because he hasn't got that diagonal to kill me with. So g4 is maybe appropriate here, believe it or not. Kick out this guy. Well, there's knight takes b5. Knight f7 is just harmless. Queen h4 looks harmless. Bishop f4 hits the rook. Okay, if I want him to take with the rook, not the knight, I think. I'm going to put some pressure on e7. Knight b5, queen takes c5. Knight h7 for queen h4. Alright, so he's not really concerned about... Okay, do I play for queen c5? Well, there's rook e6 here for knight e6 for knight f8. Maybe that's something. I sort of unpin if I can take out the rook on f8. So I sort of have an immediate unpin. But also d5 might be more vulnerable. Bishop d5. All right, yeah, that's a bit abrupt. That, yeah. Okay, that was interesting. Thanks. Oh. To the Mexican defense. All right. With A3, is this mostly harmless? I would hope it's mostly harmless. Knight E4, Knight C7. Why isn't Knight E4 any good here? Knight D4. Do I get anything from Knight D4? Alright, Knight D4 here is interesting. I don't think it's sound, is it? Unless Bishop F5 and Knight B3. Maybe there's something there with Bishop F5 and Knight B3 trying to win an exchange. Because of Rook A2, Bishop B1. That weakness of A3, hilariously. A3 is a difference from the normal King's Engine stuff. So this variation is courtesy of A3. Knight E4, F takes, Rook takes, Bishop F5. Rook moves somewhere, Knight B3. Rook A2, Bishop B1. Isn't there Knight C2 here for Rook D1 almost? Knight C2, Rook E2. Knight C2, Rook E2. Isn't there Knight G5 as an option? That's interesting. Alright, okay. So Knight G5 is an option, but Rook C2, it doesn't seem... Well, I can go back to E4. Does that make any difference at all to the position? Oh, probably not. Okay. Oh, I think I've missed that. Uh-oh. Oh dear. No, I don't like missing moves, okay. It seems as though I haven't lost the piece on this occasion, but no, I totally miscalculated there. It's quite a high stakes game from an exchange variation. It's very annoying when that happens. A high stakes game has been created from quite very modest variation in some respects. It's annoying. He's got a 3-2 pool majority. More significantly, maybe in the short term, is this idea of Rook E6 and Bishop C4. I hope I'm not getting mated there. No, I shouldn't be. Right, so is e4 worth it? Try and kick out this. Maybe bishop e5. b6. Oh. Try and keep the tension. I don't want simplification for this 3-2 pawn majority to be the key thing about the position. So, rook e6 and bishop c7. I want to keep the tension. How would I... h6, g5, then bishop e5, okay. Maybe bishop f8 then. Okay, he's simplifying. Bishop f6 gives bishop h4 at least. Or g5. I want to get to play g5. So g3, g5, bishop h6, bishop h4. I would hope. There's no sting here, is there? Oh, blimey. Is there a sting here? I'm going to play g5 if he's not careful. Oh, he just wants further simplification. Alright, fair enough. Can I play for e3 though? So bishop d4, okay. These pawns are a pain. f4. Okay, I think. But my question isn't this opening against the Geneva Chess Convention? I just thought, I know it's like getting in the psychology of King's Indian players to play this, but objectively, there's no advantage here. Objectively, yeah, there's no advantage at all to this sequence, is there? I mean, seriously, there's no advantage at all to this sequence. Yeah, I just want to make sure I know what to do against it, though. So let's have a quick look. This is a very, very annoying thing that happened here. Okay, so I'm definitely equal. Knight d2 or knight c5. Alright, maybe there was. I messed up anyway, but I hate these positions. I think I shouldn't allow them. This d takes e5 business. It's just really you know what? I can't describe it. But it can't be right. You know, I think I can actually. I have a relevant quotation. It's from Mikhail Tal. There's a moral obligation when you have the white pieces to play for a win. I think that was what Mikhail Tal wrote. I think that's the problem I have with that. But yeah, if it's, you know, that's just me anyway. But yeah, the idea of d takes to get the queens off. There is a winning prospect, though, unfortunately, for me, to be fair. The 3-2 pawn majority is lurking there, and it's just a very uncomfortable position to get right. I just went wrong. But I find it a very, very annoying variation. It's the new London system for me. Whilst the London system's not a villain right now, that variation is like a villain to me, because it exchanges off the queen, but it does have a winning prospect. Yeah, the pawn majority. Oh, I mean, I've lost the objectivity there. I just don't like that line. Yeah, I really hate that line. I thought I knew enough about that line. But in the normal King's Engine, it's annoying. But in that version with A3, oh. Maybe knight d5 is appropriate here, as in effective here, because c3, I can't really easily kick out this stuff. Have I just gone and lost? I've just gone and lost, haven't I? That's interesting, how I've just lost immediately. That was great. I'm completely lost. He's completely lost still. Yeah, I don't think there's a swindle in sight at the moment. Intriguing. Oh, there's a check as well. Hang on. King E2 hits F7. I'm trying to avoid bishop E3 check. So have a rook on E3 instead. I'm hitting F7 there. Can I double? Well, rook F3 for doubling. Yeah, I think that's an interesting battery opportunity. He's giving up a rook on the exchange. C4, the point is rook G5. If I take that rook H1, H2, there's no rook G3 for rook G2. Looks mostly hopeless now. Okay, sorry. Okay, oh no, I'm really naughty in this game. I'm really naughty. I apologise. I'm so naughty. I'm sorry. Oh, I had to give it a shot. I thought I was coming back there. Then it was actually maybe a brilliant simplification. Rookie 5. I thought I was coming back a bit. Just save a bit of rating points. Oh, I'm ruthless. I'm like one of those in the spaghetti westerns that just mercenary for rating points, for bounty. Oh, I feel like mercenary. Yeah. You should check out those spaghetti westerns. I'm like one of those in the spaghetti westerns. Just that was just terrible. I was. You guys are working as a team. What in the game before? I have to suffer this D takes E5 business. Yeah, I'm emotionally disturbed from the game before, and you guys have carefully aligned the challenges so that you're working as a team. All of a sudden, you're winding me up with wind-up variations, and then I'm chatting too much in the next game, just losing a knight in the opening. Yeah, it wasn't prom night so much as losing a knight. Yeah. I see you're working well as a team. Yeah. Why am I getting killed here now? In my pet system, I'm getting killed here. This is just not on. This is just not on. I'm busted. I'm busted. Busted. Queen sack for 1 bishop is not very good. Prospect of any swindle here seems, in fact, lower than the previous game. Bishop d5. That helps. Okay, it's Christmas early. Thank you. I needed that. Oh. It's part of online chess. It's the mouse slips are part of online chess. I've lost hundreds of games in the last 2-3 months through mouse slips. It's part of online chess, I'm afraid. I know it's a mouse slip. I know it's a mouse slip. That's why I've got I've got a G-Claw mouse with a dedicated mouse mat here to optimize my bullet chess. Let me just show you my mouse. I'm going to just show you guys my mouse and my mouse pad here, because I optimize this and I still do mouse slips. You get quite a lot of control with a G-Claw mouse. Yeah, I'm just going to show you my mouse, if I can. This is the one I'm using. It's good for bullet chess. Can you guys see this? G-Claw. It's got maximum precision. It's got precision control buttons. I've also got a mouse that accompanies it. This mouse, see this? So it accompanies it. And I still do mouse slips in online chess. But mind you, I do play a lot of bullet chess as well. I've made hundreds of mouse slips myself. Okay, I'm sorry. You know, what can I say? What can I say? Ending controversially then, I'm afraid. Okay. I'm sorry to end it so controversially, but yeah, you know, for me, I've lost hundreds of points through mouse slips. Anyway, so chess24com/premium. If you want to challenge, especially the likes of the world chess champion, grandmasters, international masters, and other bunnies like me. So it's the voucher code Kingscrusher at chess24com/premium if you want to check that out. Okay, yeah, thanks, and see you next week then. Okay, thanks very much.